All right, so number 7 isn't so bad, and it's similar to something that you do in one of the sections in math, yes, so you might run across this still. So the city of Hazleton had a population of 20,000 in 2005. You can see that right here on the graph, right? And then the population has been increasing by 4% each year, so that's why it's going up. So we could come up with this equation, put it in our calculator, and get this, and you know, use that if needed. But we don't have to come up with the equation for this one. It is asking down here, use the graph to estimate when the population will be double what it was in 2005. So what's double what it started at?
Like 40,000.
40,000, right? In 2005 it was 20,000. So we're trying to figure out when our y is equal to 40,000. And all you have to do then is on your graph here, you want to draw a horizontal line at y equals 40,000. And you want to figure out where those intersect each other, which is going to be right about here. And it says that we want to estimate using the graph, so we're not going to have the exact value, that's okay. It looks like it's somewhere between 17 and 18.
17.6.
17.6, 17.8, let's go 17.7. And that would be the years since 2005, right? So 17.7 years since 2005, which would be what year?
2022, middle to the end.
Yeah, it'd be 2022, and it'd be like 7/10 of the way through it, so in the fall probably. So let's just say, or 2022. And how we got 2022 is taking 2005 plus 17.7, which gives us 2022, and partway through that year. You see what I mean? Okay, but this is what I would expect most people to write probably. If we had to write an equation for it, could we do it? What would be the equation?
The 20,000 would be the initial.
Yeah, the initial, good.
In parentheses, 1.004.
So 1 plus, and it's fine if you do it without the plus.
0.04.
0.04 would be that as a decimal, and then raised to like the x or t or whatever, right? So if you had to write the equation, you know, you should be pretty good at writing those equations. It would look like that. We don't really need it in this problem. But what we could do, if it was a different problem asking different things, we could put this into our y equals, and then put y equals 40,000 in there and find that intersection. Like we did some of that in class, right? So there are different ways to go about finding answers sometimes. Now this one is one of the harder ones. And I think Aaron and Jackson got this one. So let's hear Aaron out first.
Okay, so what I did is I went to the calculator, went into the table, put in the values. So in the L1.
Oh, this is like the cheating way, guys. She figured out how to cheat. You ready? It's amazing. Okay, there are like loopholes, like, oh, my calculator can do it for me, but you have to know how to use your calculator to do this. So we'll do it. It's not like actually cheating, but it's knowing how to use your equipment, right? We haven't showed you, I mean, we kind of showed you this, but a lot of people don't make this connection. So in the calculator, she's going to put in the L1 and L2, put some data in there. So what's one of the points that you're using there?
I did 0 and 125.
Okay, 0 and 125, because there were 125 at the beginning, right? And then the other point you used?
I used 2 and 320.
2 and 320. Okay, so in your calculator, we hit stat enter, I heard her say. So we're going to go stat enter. And I'm going to write this down over here, okay? We're doing stat enter, because otherwise you'll forget what buttons to push. And we're going to actually use this on the next page of the practice test too. Okay, so we go stat enter. We have to clear out what's in there, so you go up to the L2, hit clear, enter. Same idea with L1, go up to the L1, clear, enter. And then what do you put in the L1?
0 and then 2.
0 and 2. And then in the L2, make sure with the 0 you put the 125 and 320. Okay, any questions so far? All right, Erin, what's next?
And then I went and I did stat, calc, and then
Stat over to calc.
0.
0, it should say exponential regression. And you can scroll down until you see exponential. Realize we're trying to find an exponential function, right? That's why we're using that one. All right, and then you don't even need to store this, do we? We just had to write the equation, so you can just hit enter. You don't have to like store it anywhere. We'll talk about how to store it on the next page.
So you can go enter, and then ta-da.
And then ta-da. Okay, so this is not something I show students unless the student brings it up. All right, so you guys are lucky. You tell her thank you.
Thank you.
Why don't you show it to us if it's like so good?
Because I like for you to know how to do it using algebra because we're in algebra 1.
Because we're in algebra.
Okay, so we go stat, then over to calc, and then you find, I think it's 0 exponential regression. And that's where this comes from. Then you can write your equation. So our equation is y equals, instead of a, it's 125. And then our b is 1.6 to the x power. So that would be our function to model the situation.
Good job, Erin.
Any questions on that? Now, if you're going to do this using your calculator, I would say write out the points, and then you can say calculator, and you could write it out. All right, Jackson did it a different way. We'll see what he did, and if my way is different, I'll show you mine as well. Go ahead, Jackson.
So I took 320, and then I divided that by 125, and then from there, I think it was like 2.56. Yeah, it was like 2.56. And then I took that and I took the square root of it
And why did you do that?
because it was to the exponent of 2.
Yeah.
And then I got 1.6, and from there I knew that that would be like what would be the b value.
Perfect. Now I'm going to show you guys, because that might be confusing to you, I'm going to show you guys how you can like get to what he was doing. So we're starting with 125 bacteria, right? And so if we're starting with 125 bacteria, we know our equation is going to be y equals 125 times b to the x, right? And then don't we know that after 2 days, there's 320 bacteria? So that would be my x is 2, and my y is 320, just like what Erin had said here. So what I do is I go here, and I plug 320 in for y, and I plug 2 in for x. Whoops, 2. I said it, I just didn't do it. And then we want to solve for x. So if we want to solve for b. If we want to solve for b, we're going to divide both sides by 125. So that was Jackson's first step there. And we get 2.56 equals b squared. And then how do you get rid of a squared? Square root, right? So when we square root, we get b equals 1.6. And then you can just shove that to where the b value goes. And you got your initial value up front, and you have your rule. You see it? Okay? I do too. I do too. This is a way you can do it using algebra, or if like no calculator was allowed, but you guys will have your calculator, okay? All right, go to the last